Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Pacitto, coming to you from Montreal.
And I'm Michael Polsinelli from Los Angeles.
This is my dear, dear, dear friend. I have been your fan forever, and you had no idea who I was, and I was secretly and silently following.
Of course
Yeah.
I knew who you were. Are you kidding me?
Well, I remember. Do you remember the first time we met, Michael?
Yeah, it was at the Worldwide Hair Tour, I believe, in Los Angeles. And I came to see, I came to see some great artists out from Davines, and it was my first experience, actually.
And you came to see your brother on
I
stage.
came to see my brother on stage, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, so I was a big fan of still a big fan of my brother, but I came to support him.
Yeah. And I remember knowing that you were going to be there, and I was performing on stage that time, and I go, oh no, Michael Polsinelli is going to be watching me. So listen, I am thrilled. In the past few years, we have become really good friends to the point that we've had times, especially during COVID, where we'd call each other every single morning, myself, you, and James Abuba.
Yeah.
And it made that time be a little bit sweeter. So, I mean, for us to have you in Montreal, and by the way, you have many fans in Montreal.
I love it. I love it. I mean, Canada's my homeland, so Canada's my native land. So anytime I can, be part of the greatness of hairdressing that's come out of Canada, it's always an honor. So
you're saying that, right? So do you feel that the expectations, because you're going to be performing in Canada and in particular Montreal, are a little bit different? I have just a few questions, and I have a few that some of my colleagues helped me out with. But what's going to be different about you performing in Montreal? And before you answer, I just want to, if people are wondering, Michael is coming to Montreal April 27th. And him and I are going to perform together. And that makes me nervous. But we've done it before. We've done it in Sacramento, and it went really well. And Isabelle Lachance, my dear, dear friend, and Benoit, my dear friend, are also going to perform. So there's going to be two shows, their show and our show. So that's really exciting, and it's going to happen at the Biodome. I mean, a special place for someone special. Yeah. So going back to my question, what do you think Montrealers, performing for Montrealers, is that going, or Quebecers, if you will, is that making you change your approach, or what do you think about it all?
Well, I mean, first of all, being able to, come to Canada, my homeland, like I said, and being able to share, that's always exciting. That's always an honor to come back and be able to see, old friends and new friends and make new friends. But also, I mean, listen, Montreal knows their stuff. Montrealers, Quebec, they know their stuff. So there's always there's going to be pressure. There's going to be pressure to make sure that you perform. There's pressure to make sure that the people will be excited and pleased to see hopefully what they see on stage together with you and I. But yeah, there's always that pressure of coming home and making the Canadians happy. So yeah, there's always pressure. I mean, I'm gonna, obviously I want to give a lot more, to hopefully make it, a special night with you.
And it's really, I mean, we have different styles, but there's something that unites us in the aesthetic. I always love what you do, and I think, because we talk often enough, I think, you said nice things about, there's some ways we connect an awful lot. And we had the experience, like I said before, in Sacramento, where it's as though we worked side by side for a number of years. We just jammed really,
yeah.
real. Yeah.
And I honestly think it's because, we've been doing this a long time. And I think that we've been influenced by a very similar culture growing up. So I think that we've been trained to see a certain aesthetic. And what was amazing, for me, the first time that I actually did work with you, that we didn't have a lot of creative differences. And I think that was like an eye-opening experience. But so to me, when I see all your beautiful pictures, all your beautiful work, there's this beautiful elegance. There's this classy romanticism about your work, right? And it's always pristine, but it's always beautiful. It's never ugly. So, um,
Thank God for that. Never ugly.
listen, I mean, and it was won more awards than everybody put together. So that obviously stands true. But I think that when you've been doing this a really long time, I think you develop this understanding of what is beautiful, and it may be something that's maybe not as beautiful. So, but once again, beauty is different for everybody. But we did have that instant connection, not only through creativity or what we see creatively, but also as people, as friends. And that's why we gelled together so quick. It was a lot of things that really kind of made it really easy to, be together, work together. So,
Yeah. So you've been prior to Davines, your Davines life, you were global artistic director for another brand, and it's okay, we'll mention it. Sebastian, we can mention other brands; it's not a problem, and
I
that
mean, everybody in Canada knows anyway, so it does.
everybody knows. Yeah, and Quebec has always been huge followers, especially back then, of Sebastian and you in particular. So the way I saw from afar Michael was excellence, innovation. And to be excellent, innovative, and of course I say avant-garde, um, when you think of avant-garde, sometimes you could go overboard and it doesn't look so pretty, but you always made it look impeccable. The workmanship was always amazing, and you never forgot. And I think that is what joins us. The ultimate final look always makes the model look beautiful, and you never forget that in essence, the model or whoever you're working on needs to feel beautiful. And sometimes people who work, in avant-garde work or anything that is innovative, they tend to forget that there's a person that needs to feel beautiful, and you never miss. You never miss.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if I never miss, but
No,
I mean, I appreciate that. But I think it's the same thing for you, right? I think that you always, no matter what, beauty is beauty,
yeah,
right? Beauty is beauty. But
yeah,
I think, as two creative people, I think that it, I always try to push the envelope, right? So sometimes I will do one concept and all of a sudden I jump to something completely different. Um, but at the same time, like you said, that there's a model under there, and you have to, when you're creating these elaborate designs, you always have to remember, how is it going to fit? How is it going to embellish the face that wears it, the person that wears it, the model that wears it. So all these all these all these sort of like characteristics have to play into the design. So it's not so simple. It's not so simple. Oh, I'm just going to design this and that's it. Off you go. No, there's a lot of things that has to go into designing something. And I think that takes time to understand and learn that. And, the more you do it, the more you understand it. Like, you and I have been doing this a long time. And I think, I think, and I'm always honest and open about creativity. I'm always very open about me as an artist, my insecurities, my fears, all those things, because I think that's important to share that with other hairdressers out there that, look at our work or watch us or come and see us, because that's, like I said, that's always a gift. So, but at the same time, I don't want to pretend to somebody that I'm not. So I'm always going to share that. I'm always going to share all those things. So my biggest fear, and I have many, um, and
you
I'm
wouldn't
pretty,
think, Michael. You wouldn't think. I only learned this about you once I got to know you. because you come off as being extremely knowledgeable, and the confidence comes through in such a great way. But I think getting to know you, you also come off as being very, very humble, and you've always been very humble.
Yeah.
But insecurities that we transpire, I think, is what keeps you and me on our toes constantly.
Absolutely.
And it's helpful, isn't it?
And I even said it at the Worldwide Hair Tour. I said, I know so much, but yet I know so little. And I'm always going to be a student, no matter what. Until I stop doing this, I'm always going to be a student. But, I think that one of my fears is, here's the thing, right? I think that, the more we do this, the more we realize that we design and we create to feed our souls, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's something that we constantly feel, and we need to get it out of us. I think the minute you start designing for everybody else, then you lose the plot. So I think that for me, I'm always fighting against myself, So like I said, my biggest fear is not being able to get to maybe the same level or the creative level that I created the last time. And I hate to disappoint myself first and foremost before I disappoint everyone else. So, but yeah, those are my fears. I mean, am I confident in my abilities? Yes, I am, but that's taken many years to cultivate, But at the same time, it's like, it's every time we create something new, Anna, as you know, when you're creating, you create so many, I don't know how many collections you've created. I don't even think I can count that high. Every time you create a new collection, what am I going to do this time? What am I going to create? What are you going to create that you already haven't done or somebody else?
You're only as good as your last one, right?
Yeah, and that's it. You're only as good as the last one. So that's my biggest, maybe fear is the wrong adjective, but that's my greatest push.
Yeah. What motivates?
Yes, that's my greatest motivation, is to make sure that I disappoint the next time.
So what we are going to have in common, I was talking about Isabelle Lachance and Danielle Benoit. We know each other's style and we worked together before. What we are going to have in common is that both segments are going to be styled by a fabulous stylist, Florence Durand. And by the way, she's been nominated a few times for the CAFTA Awards, the Canadian Fashion Awards, and she's been a finalist a few times. So she's really, really good. And I know that you're so particular about styling, but you have mentioned that you like her work. So she's going to be doing all of the styling for all of us.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And she has to come up with two.
Yes. Well, Anna, let me ask you. When I see you create your collections, I know that you're very particular and you're very meticulous about every single little composition in a picture, right?
Absolutely.
And that's just because of your attention to incredible detail, right? From the shoes right to the hair. And I want to know, or I'm sure a lot of people want to know, it's like, why so much? Why so much detail to the whole composition? Especially live, not only because live is a whole different animal. It's a whole different beast, than a picture, because the picture is very static, right?
What?
But especially live, what is it that you're so particular about, and why are you so particular about the whole composition?
We are surrounded by incredibly talented hairstylists, especially when we do shows at that level, right? And I think every single little detail is important. And I just don't want the audience to ever be distracted by anything else but the best that I can give. And I don't want the shoes to be a distraction. If it is a distraction, it's because they're wonderful and not because they're not up to par. And, you just have to give yourself at, even 100%. You have to always more than 100%. You have to outdo yourself, from head to toe. everything is important. The makeup is super important. The hair obviously is the most important, but the model, the way it fits the model, the whole package. An audience could be distracted by the way a model is walking, and and if I see that a model, for example, is not the best walker, I make her take her time and change, the choreography so that it makes that model shine. And you just have to give it all you've got for the respect of who took their time to come to see what you're doing.
Right, exactly. And that's so true. And I think that goes to, because like once again, you and I are very, where our mindset's so like on par. We're so similar with that. And I think more than anything, we're more worried about everybody else coming to see the show than actually what we're going to do, because we're such people pleasers, So having said that, like, how did you find the Biodome? Like, how did you come up with this whole concept of having it at the Biodome? Or Biodome?
The only thing that I said to my partners, this was Eric Tremblay and Stéphane Roy, and Isabelle was on par with this. I said, it's Michael Polsinelli, okay?
No, God, don't put it on me.
Like, I go, I want something special, okay? So break your heads. There are wonderful places, beautiful event venues in Montreal. So you look for the top place that you can imagine that has not been done in hair before, a place where we haven't had hair events. And they proposed a couple of things, and I go, it kind of looks like, what we did last time. So then I think it's Stéphane, and I think they both went, Stéphane and Eric both went to the Biodome. And they presented it to me. I go, the Biodome, isn't that too big? Isn't that too much? And they showed me some photos, and I go, no, you got it. I go, this is perfect. I think it has this all-white type of background, if I'm not mistaken, with modern shape. Anyway, it's going to be a surprise to both of us. So,
well, I'm going to stick out because I'm going to be wearing black on a white background.
Perfect. That's perfect. It's perfect.
I don't know what shade of black, but I'm going to be wearing black. Yeah, I mean, going back to what you were saying about, what people are expecting, I think, I always say creative honesty. Creative honesty is, to me, is so important, because when you keep things simple, but direct and straight to the point, I think there's a relatability there for people to understand and be able to kind of take it in and take it with them. Do you know what I mean? Yes, of course, we want some, I think that we want to try and do something, that pushes the envelope, that pushes a little bit of the creativity. But I think that the way we're going to do it, the way we do it, there's still a definite visual and creative connection. And then once again, like, I find that today, especially, in the world that we live in, I think that, just being so open and willing to connect with the audience about what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it. And, and how we're doing it. This is how we're doing. This is what we were thinking, and I think that having that open dialogue and that open conversation, I think, is something that it makes it very relatable to everyone.
I just want to mention, Michael, something that, first of all, by the way, I was, for the first time in a very long time, in the audience at Worldwide Hair Tour for Davines in Berlin. And your presentation was spectacular, to say the least. I was emotional the whole time. You give off this amazing aura that is so difficult, to very few people have this, where you come off as being important, knowledgeable, Your hands speak for themselves. But at the same time, what comes out is this humbleness, and you make it really easy for the audience to connect with you. And I just want to mention something about a few years ago at a Worldwide Hair Tour. I think it was the first time that you attended backstage. You had just come on board with Davines, and I was prepping my models. And, when you're at crunch time, and I had one hairstyle that I was finishing off, and I was a little...
Oh, I remember that.
You remember that? And for some reason, my hands were not connecting it. And you just looked at me. She was, Anna, here, let me do this and go take care of something else. And the hairstyle was done, but not finished. And you just very, very calmly, took it and finished it and put your, your end,
But I wasn't going on stage to present, so I was a lot calmer than you. You had all this stuff going on.
There was so much going on. Yeah.
So it's easy for me to come in and just be calm and relaxed and just let me do it for you while you're, taking care of, a million other things. But
the other 8 models, and it was, but it was just, I go, look at this guy, and coming back to the last presentation that I saw, it was absolutely brilliant. Everything you did was perfection and fabulous.
Well, that's a huge thing to say. I honestly, once again, I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I just come out on stage just like, I am who I am, and I just can't fake it. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, I understand. But I expect a lot from myself. Once again, as you know, like we were just saying, the people coming to see you, you have to put in the time. People are coming to see you and spending a lot of money, so you have to put in the time to make sure that you give them the best representation of yourself and that of your team as well. So once again, my mentor always used to say to me, is like, if you fail to prepare to fail.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree. So I just want to put a little bit more pressure on you. Before our presentation, Isabelle Lachance and Benoit are going to be doing a segment.
I'm so excited to be there with them.
They're fabulous,
And see them, I'm so excited to see them work behind stage, So I want to get in their heads and see how they think and how they see hair and creativity and all that. So, because once again, I'm a student. I'm like a sponge. I love watching everybody think and see how they work.
As we speak, Danielle is in Spain with Dove and Palmer. So we're going to come back with some really cool haircuts. And Isabelle is traveling extensively as well. So it's going to be extreme. I mean, I look forward to it. And there are some people coming in from outside Quebec, outside Montreal. So I think it's going to be a fabulous event. The masterclass, if I'm not mistaken, is sold out, or there may be, we may sneak a couple of people in there extra because Michael Polsinelli is coming to town, and it's so it's going to be amazing. Anything else you want to add to this?
Well, I mean, Montreal's a special place. Quebec is a special place because there is. It's so rooted in culture, and I would say, Montreal, Quebec, Toronto. I would. It's probably if you take it on a global scale, it's up there with some of the most creative people you're ever going to see. So, I'm going to ask you, because you're a native, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, how is it that you want to kind of like, impact everybody there? I mean, everybody knows the great Anna Pacitto, and once again, it's the same thing for you. Every time you go out there, you know, you're representing, so like, it's how are you going to kind of impact? How are you going to,
Do you know why I find it easier to perform outside? Simply because
exactly.
outside Montreal, simply because your very own, okay, will be a little bit harder on you,
Yeah.
right? So I give it all I've got when I do anything, in Montreal, in Quebec, because I just, know that, hey, you better perform, you have to. And I think the audience is a little bit harder. So I'm happy that you're going to remove some of the pressure off of me. So listen, we're going to
Thank
play.
you.
Yeah, we're each other, and I think it's going to be great. So listen, Michael, I look forward to it so much, and I know that you have so many fans out here that are waiting to see you. Have you ever been? Have you ever? I know you've been to Montreal. You've performed in Montreal?
You know what? I have not. The only thing I've ever done there is education.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I've done education.
So it's been a long time coming.
It's been a very long time since I've been in that area.
Oh, okay. So people, I understand then the excitement. I really look forward to it, Michael.
Yeah, me too.
So to finish this, Michael and I will be performing alongside Isabelle Lachance and Danielle Benoit at the Biodome on April 27th, 2025.
I'm excited. I'm excited. We've got some work to do. I'm excited.
Excellent. See you soon, Michael.
Bye, my love.